A very good morning to all present over here. Today, the first session will be conducted by Mr. Pradip Mukherji, sir. Pradip Mukherji, a human born to clarify and connect humanity to the true God and pave the way for the souls to go back home, setting them free for the clutches of Maya and Matrix. He is a human whom God chose to deliver God's message, a message that gave humanity a clarity of what God is and what God is not, a message that explained the utmost simplicity how and why we are bound to this multiverse, a message that gave humanity a conscious choice for the first time after knowing who God is and who God is not, a choice to choose God, to be with God, to be healed by God, and to be guided by God. A message that was once delivered in the closed walls of a hotel banquet is now being openly delivered through this book. God first gave the choice to Pradip sir to take God's message to the world. Then God gave the choice to the humans who came to Pradip sir in his workshops. Now, God is giving the choice to all the humans through this book to choose God. To deliver this message, Pradeep sir meticulously, unreasonably, patiently, and committedly followed the will of God at every step. His choice, his commitment, his one pointedness to follow the will of God put this selfless, simple human in total discomfort when God declared that God now lives in and as Pradeep sir. Humans who attended the workshops with Pradeep sir came to know who true God, Aka Paramatma, is for the first time. His only invitation to every human is to read this book with an open mind at one go and try God for 30 days. Now, I request N.M. Patel sir to welcome Mr. Pradip Mukherji sir.
Hello, good morning. Good morning to all. It's my really great privilege to have this session as part of this training program, and particularly like I am been benefited being connected with sir in every way. Like the clarity I get in every area of my life, and so I don't have words to explain the what I got through sir. So I wish that everyone over here in this room get the benefit of sir. So I requested sir, do we have permission? Can you join this training program participants? And we got the permission. So I was very much happy that we are having Pradip sir with us in this session. And I have requested already all the participants to read this book, which we gave them as a part of this kit of their training program. So I hope they have read and they may be able, and I ask them that you can interact with sir once sir's present talk is. So I welcome you, sir.
So once again, good morning to everyone who has joined in this meeting. And thank you all who invited me and for willing to listen to me. I was told that I'll be speaking to a group of professors who have come for some kind of technical upgradation. So you will be having 9 technical lectures and one lecture will be non-technical, which is where I actually am coming in. Now it's interesting what is technical and what is non-technical. Okay, technical seems to be something which is kind of dead. Non-technical seems to be something which is kind of alive. So most of us in most of our life, we are dealing with something which is already dead. We are pursuing that which is already dead. We are trying to possess that which is already dead. And there is a very small part of our life which we are actually spending on or engaging with that which is truly alive. So humans have a fascination for everything which is dead. And humans have very less fascination for something which is truly alive. And because they have a fascination for something which is dead or almost dead, every human's life also is kind of, they have suffering and they have pain. So when you deal with something which is already dead, that cannot nourish you. What can nourish you is that which is fully alive. So this is the first understanding of life, that am I engaging mostly with that which is dead or mostly with that which is alive. Once we get this understanding, the next point that comes up for us to consider is that why is it that we really pursue engaging with the dead things? Now, what are basically dead things if you look into life? The dead thing, everything which is knowledge oriented is dead thing. Everything that is utility oriented is dead thing. Everything that is coming into your wanting, they are dead. So every object that you want to have, every position that you want to have, every what else humans are pursuing? Object, position, success, name, fame, glamour, acknowledgement, appreciation. Everything is basically dead. They don't nourish the humans. And because they do not nourish the humans, ultimately, the humans are left with very little things in their life which truly is alive and truly is nourishing for them. So this is one distinction that I wanted to give to you, that since out of 10 lectures, at least one lecture was kept for non-technical, which is to deal with something which is alive. How about at least bringing 10% of your life into things which are alive, which nourishes you, which kind of enhances you being alive. So this was one thing. Then now I come to the subject of today's discussion, which basically is about bringing God into our life. Now, when we talk of bringing God into our life, first thing, question comes. Actually, most of the people will say, I already have God in my life. Or they will say, I don't need a God because I am a non-believer. So non-believers say, I don't need God, so therefore I don't need God in my life. Believers will say, I already have a God in my life. So why this question of bringing God into my life? So the answer to that question is, nobody truly has God in their life. What you have in the name of God is basically deities. So in the book, actually, I gave a clear distinction of the four gods. And unless you understand these four gods, you will find it very difficult to understand why I am having this conversation about bringing God into our life. So starting from the bottom, which is the fourth god, they are all the deities. Every deity that you know. Every deity that you worship. And of course, they are not the highest. And every deity is a mortal. Mortal means each one of them dies. Not only the humans die, but every deity dies, including the highest. Next, number 3. Number 3 is the soul. Now, when people say that God is within me, they're actually talking about the soul. So for these people, they are actually worshipping the third God. And how are they worshipping the third God? By trying to connect with the third God, by trying to become one with the third God, by trying to be sourced by the third God. So this is the next God that we have, which we call as the soul. Now all souls are immortal. They don't die. Now we have the second God. Now not much is known about the second God, except that this is actually the owner of this multiverse in which the humans are living in. This God has many names. This God is this God is in our culture, in the land in which I live. He is known as Kal, Alak Niranjan, Kal Brahm. So these are some of his names. And in the Western religion, he is known as either Allah, or he is known as either Jehovah, or he is known as either the Lord. So this is the second one. And the will of the second one prevails in this universe. The universe is owned by the second. Not create this universe, but created all the in this universe. And once we have a clarity of these 3 gods, 4, 3, and 2, what is now left truly is that one God. And about this God, nothing much is known. We call him Paramatma, we call him Parmeshwar, or we call him God. He is the absolute, he is the supreme. Unfortunately, the second God has taken and used these names for himself. He said, I am Paramatma, he said, I am Parmeshwar, and he said many other things. So now that I have clarified to you about the 4 gods and made it very clear who the actual God is, and this second God also is a mortal. This second God is also dying. With every creation cycle, when it comes to the end, all gods die except the souls. So, that which is immortal cannot be God. Immortal can be God. So now that I have clarified to you all who these 4 gods are, now the question is, how do we bring the true God into our life? And why do we need to bring the true God into our life? Then you have to understand one thing about the second God. Whether you call him Kal, whether you call him Allah, whether you call him Jehovah, whether you call him Ahura Mazda, whether you call him any other name. This God has no interest in the well-being of humanity. This God doesn't care for the humans. This God is never going to bring peace and well-being and joy to the humans. Why? Because this God thrives on the pain and suffering of the human. if the pain and suffering of the human goes away, this God will not be able to thrive. So this God has no interest in your well-being, in your peace, in your ease. In these three things, the second God has no interest. And yet, it projects itself to be very kind, very benevolent, very compassionate, very caring, very loving. These are all the projections. They are not the truth. The truth is, this God has only one interest: to deliver pain and suffering to humanity. And this is one reason that, in spite of the fact humans have tried every way that they could make themselves free from their pain and suffering, they could not do that. It's not because the humans did not do enough to come out of their pain and suffering. They have done enough for thousands and thousands of years. But unfortunately, this God did not allow any of the projects to become successful. So when God gave us religion, the second God, or the second one gave us, actually I will now refer to him as king. He is the king of the universe. It is king who gave us the religions, and it is king who gave us spirituality. And it is king also who gave us materialism. Why do you think the humans have such a fascination for knowledge, success, power, control, domination, manipulation, and acquiring of objects? Why do the humans have this fascination? It's not an accident. It is a part of a design that makes the human materialists. So actually there are three religions in this world. The first religion is known as materialism. The second religion is known as whatever your religion is. And the third religion is known as spirituality. Why the king had to bring in spirituality? For the simple reason that the king knew that there will be a group of people who cannot be trapped within materialism, and they cannot be trapped within religion. They will question everything. They will be very sharp. They will be very intelligent. And so how do you deal with this group of people? They have also to be bound. And so the king brought in something called you can escape from the cycle of birth and death. You can become enlightened. You can evolve spiritually. So that's where the king brought in this phenomena of escaping the cycle of birth and death. But if you notice, every person, and there are thousands and thousands, why thousands, maybe millions and millions of people trying to escape the cycle of birth and death, either through some kind of spiritual practice, or through some kind of spiritual purification, or through some kind of spiritual abstinence. Abstinence means they are saying, I will now stop doing this and stop doing that, which includes brahmacharya, which includes penance, which includes going into the mountains and giving up the world. But none of them work. None of them make the humans free. Because this whole phenomenon of really stopping the cycle of birth and death happens not because of what the humans are doing, but because of someone in the non-physical domain activating something which frees the human from coming back as a human. So those who say that there is only one life and there is no life after that, it is true. Why? Because this character called Pradip is never going to come back. So there is only one life. No, there are many lives. That is also true. Why? The character might not come back. This body mind character will not come back. But something about what is known as karma is carried forward, and another incarnation is created from that karmic baggage, and then a whole new life cycle starts. So both are true. One life is true, many lives are also true. Both are relatively true. And this thing called karma is also a very funny thing. Why it is funny? Because it can be the one that is sourcing and creating your life, and there are many people who have no karmic baggage and yet they have their life. We call them aliens. 40% of humanity are today aliens. What does it mean to be alien? It just means that they are non-souled beings. 60% of the humans are souled beings who have a karmic cycle, a karmic journey. 40% have no karmic baggage, and yet they are living just like normal humans. So that means karma is not everything. So this is one more thing which I actually explain in the book about karma, how it has relevance and at the same time it has no relevance. It's just like you can have one life and many lives. Both are true. Karma is also true and also not true. And then there is something that Buddha said, that life is nothing but a suffering, and the source of all suffering is nothing but rag and dvesh, which is attachments and aversions. Because of your attachments, you are wanting so much, and because of your aversions, you are creating your suffering and pain. So attachment doesn't create suffering and pain. Aversion creates suffering and pain. But attachment is the source of your aversion. Today you like someone, tomorrow you don't like someone. Today you want someone, tomorrow you want to push that person away from you. Today you want to meet someone, tomorrow you want to avoid that person. They all go hand in hand. It's like the two faces of the same coin. So it begins with the one, it ends with the other. And the other creates our suffering and our pain. So look into your life. You are so attached to everyone in your family, but they are also the source of all your suffering and pain. Look into all the people around you, the people whom you want to be near you, and you will find they are the ones also who are the source of your suffering and pain. So this is another thing. So let me now talk about the soul. What is soul basically? I said souls are immortal. Soul are the children of God. And anything who comes from the body of God are immortal, because God is immortal. Now it so happens that the king was immortal, because king is also the son of God. And this son of God at one point of time decided not to follow the will of God and started defying the will of God again and again and again. As a result, this king, one day God said, fine, if you want to live the life the way you want to live, it's better that you go out of my house. And so what God did was, God pushed this king along with all the souls who also went against the will of God, and 23 universes, no, 21 universes. God pushed them all out of the domain of God. So when someone is trying to explain how the universe was created, it definitely was not created where we are. It was created within the domain of God and then pushed out. What the king did was basically what were only planets, the king made them stars. King created the law. King created the movement of the planets. King created life. And along with the soul and king, they both created all kind of lives. They created all kind of animation of the beings. But now coming to the souls, these souls, basically they had left the domain of God. And at some point they now decided they want to go back. But the king would not allow them to go back. Because of that, ultimately God had to come in. But God could not do this work on his own, not because he could not, but he decided he will not. It is something like you may be a very powerful person compared to your neighbor, but you do not go and try to dominate your neighbor in your way of thinking and living. You do not do that because out of decency. So it is out of decency that God said, I will not interfere in the domain of the king. I will work through a human who will do my work. And this human will free the souls and allow them to come back home. So I am that human that was chosen for this job. And for 8 years, I worked constantly. And that work was a very complex work, a part of which I understand, most of which I don't understand, because I was only following the instructions of God. I do not know the dynamics of how it happened. But at the end of 8 years, God said, now the work is done. The souls are now free to go back home whenever they want to go back home. That being so, I thought now it's time to leave. But then God said, let's do another work. And basically, I was interested in actually giving humans some tools, some method by which they can get some relief in their suffering and pain. Now, God had made it very clear to me that God will not change the storyline of the humans. Why? Because if you change the storyline of one human, it is going to affect 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 lives. So just because someone is not married and that one wants to get married and it is not in the storyline, if you try to bring another human and marriage happen, you will actually create a series of effects which can be devastating for many people. In the same way, you are not supposed to be rich, but God says, I am going to make you rich. Well, then the way you were supposed to interact with n number of people will now stop. And all new people have to be created who have to come into your life because now you are a rich man. So God is not going to do all these things. God is not going to give you what the humans want. What does the human want? Human says, I want success, but the storyline says, no, you cannot have much. Humans say, I want to have a good spouse. But God says, you are going to get what you are going to get. The humans say, I want to go and live in a foreign land. God says, your storyline is meant to be where you are meant to be. And so God doesn't touch all these things that the humans want. God says exactly where you are, the way, the events in which you are. I can give you a little relief or maybe a lot of relief, but just relief, which means I wouldn't touch your external circumstances, but I will give you some freedom, some relief in the way you are experiencing life. And so And God said, I can give you that if you choose me. Now, every human by default has chosen the king. Even those who are non-believers, they have chosen the king. When they said that I am a non-believer, I believe in science and technology, they have chosen the king. Why science and technology takes you to the king? Because science and technology is the very modality that is dead. But you will say that this is one modality that has improved the quality of life. It has not improved the quality of life, it has improved the quantity of life. The quality of life kept going down because the quality of life is a measure of how alive you are, how spontaneous you are, how giving you are, how caring you are. And when I use the word caring, caring means not at the cost of anyone else or not at the cost of anything else. Every provider in the family is caring. But what kind of caring is that? I don't care for my neighbors. I don't care for what happens to others. I just care for that money should come to my house and I must have more cars. I must have a bigger house. I must have more fame. I should go to the best destinations to have entertainment and vacation. Now, this is how we are caring. We are caring to a small group of people, but at the cost of others. In the same way, science and technology is caring at the cost of something, at the cost of destroying something. And most of the time, we are destroying that which is alive. So, this thing I said, one religion is materialism, in that there won't be any God. One religion is the religion that you follow, irrespective of whether you are a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Parsi, or whatever. God won't be in that. And one religion that you follow is spirituality. You say, my own spiritual evolution, my own spiritual growth, my own spiritual journey. Well, God will not be even in that also. All three are sourced by the king. So I'm just making it very clear, you cannot have your feet on both the boats. You cannot have the king and God both together. You have to choose either God or king. King will satisfy your ego and enhance your ego. God will neither satisfy your ego nor enhance your ego. King will make you feel very special. God will not make you feel special. King will make you feel extraordinary. God will not make you feel that. In fact, with God, you will become very ordinary. But that will not be ego enhancing. Because ego says, I want to be special. I want to be important. I want to be heard. I want to be noticed. I want people to acknowledge me. I want people to notice me. This is what ego says. And with God, all these things are gone. You become no one. No one notices you. No one acknowledges you. Nothing. So this is an understanding that I am giving you before you decide to bring God into your life. Because I don't want you to bring God into your life with wrong assumptions, as because many people assume since God is the highest, since God is the supreme, since God is the absolute, if I bring God into my life, that means I can have anything that I want. I can change my storyline. I can get anything that I ask. I only have to please God. You cannot please God. You can please your deities. Actually, you cannot do that even. But you have been told that you can please your deities. You have been told that go and worship the deities and the deities will be pleased. They don't get pleased. You have been told that you make a deal, what we call as mannat, that I will give you this in return, you please give me that. The deities don't give you that. But you will say the deities have given that to that person and to that person and to that person. Yes, there are a few things that shows up which people ask. But that is within their storyline that shows up. Deities never give you anything outside of your storyline. And same is the case with all these modalities called uh, law of attraction, law of creation, the magic of creation, power of the mind, power of the heart. And people assume that these are certain access points through which they can manifest whatever they want in their life. And the beauty about all these modalities is a little or more, but eventually they disappoint you. And so it is with everything in life. Everything that you felt would have really made your life eventually disappoints you, eventually makes you feel not good, eventually makes you want something more. So human life is always about more, better, different. You are either wanting something more, or you are either wanting something better, or you are either wanting something different. But why is it that you are wanting more, better, and different? Why is it that where you are, the way you are, and how you are is not enough? Because of a core programming that says that I am not enough the way I am. I am not enough with what I have. I am not enough with the way my life is. It's a core programming. And this is the core programming that creates your suffering. Because you do not journey through life through a place of completion. You journey through life through a place of incompletion. And every human feels that incompletion in their life. Every human feels I don't have enough, I am not enough, I have not reached, I have not done enough, I am not strong enough, I am not knowledgeable enough, I am not powerful enough. Why do people want to become handsome or beautiful? In order to impress others. Why do you want to impress others? Because you want them to tell you that you are so good. Why do you want people to tell you that you are so good? Because deep inside you are saying, I am not good enough. And unless you become free from this programming that you are not good enough, unless you become free from this programming that there is something wrong with my life, there is something missing in my life, there is something not okay in my life, how can you ever be alive? And that is where God comes in. If you connect with God and if you receive the grace of God, the first thing that happens is you cool down. Like we cool down with a AC, air conditioner, you cool down with God. You cool down into ease and peace. You start getting relaxed. You start feeling good where you are the way you are. You start feeling okay. And now you can really laugh for no reason. Now you can be non-serious. King makes you serious. King makes you ambitious. King makes you driven. and for nothing. In the end, humans have worked for 30, 40 years, given everything that they have. And finally, the question came up is everything that I created, everything that I gave, another person came and wiped it out in one day. And you go into utter frustration. So first there was pride that you created something so beautiful. And then there is pain. And in that pain, you saw someone else coming and destroying your creation. You could never enjoy life. Because when you were creating, you were nothing but having a series of sacrifice in your life. And through those series of sacrifices, you created something that the community around you acknowledged as good. But before you died, you also saw that getting destroyed. You saw that getting removed. And then the pain came in. Why did I sacrifice? For whom did I sacrifice? For what did I sacrifice? So there was pride, and now there is pain. This is all a human life is. For those who are very serious, for those who are very ambitious, for those who are driven, goal-oriented, for those who wants to create something so great that they will be remembered, for which people will thank them. But eventually, every human being are thankless. No one really cares for anyone. Every human being is self-driven by their self-interest. They will say, you are so good, and in the next moment behind your back, they will be jealous about what you did. And all those negativity reaches you. It is not that it does not reach you. It may not, their words may not come into your ears, but their vibrations always come to you. And those vibrations are going to make you jittery. Those vibrations are going to make you tight. You will not be able to relax in your body. And then humans use all kind of stuff to relax. They start smoking, they start drinking, they start watching TV, they start going into shopping, they start going into vacation, they start doing this, doing that. Nothing truly relaxes. Because every human being is taking on all the negativity of all the people who are jealous about them or who are scared about them. If you are someone who is very good in dominating people, people are scared and their fear will come and haunt you. So this is the life that we have. So I do not know how many people truly will be bringing God into their life. My job is to give them the message of God. My job is to invite the humans to allow God to come into their life. And it isn't much that you have to do to bring God into your life. All God says is do a mantra which takes less than 2 minutes and nothing more is needed. But if you have any pain or any suffering, you can talk to the book. And if you have read the book, you can practice the protocols given at the back of the book. Only these three things. There is nothing much that you need to do to bring God into your life. And of course, one more very important thing. For 30 days, God says you can try me on. 30 days from the day when you took the mantra or 30 days after you completed reading the book. 30 days, try me on. And in these 30 days, ultimately decide whom do you choose, me, God, or the king. If you choose the king, go back to your religion, go back to your guru, go back to your practices, go back to everything that you have been pursuing, no issue. God has no issue with humans not choosing God. King has an issue. So my message is very simple. It started with being alive or dead. And everything in the domain of the king is dead. Why? Because the king himself is dying. King dies and is reborn. And in the domain of that which keeps on dying, how can you have anything which is alive? They appear to be alive, but they are not alive. It's only with God true aliveness comes into the human journey and into human life. Unfortunately, God never delivers any miracle. God never delivers anything which is magical, which is mystical, because God is very ordinary. So ordinary that if God comes and sits beside you, you will miss knowing that God is with you. The king wants to put a dazzling display. God doesn't want to put any dazzling display. It's almost like you will question, is really God with me? Because you will have no experience of being with God. But when you are with the king, you will have multiple experiences, all kind of experiences. And you will have pride with your experiences. And if you are practicing humbleness, that also is nothing but pride. A truly humble person never wants to be humble, never displays his humbleness. Because there is no need to be humble. There is no need to impress anyone with my humbleness. So where is the need for humbleness? And pride is something that society, community, and nation tells you that you must have pride. Why? Because that is the way they control you. And you have pride over many things. You have pride in the family you are born in. You have pride with all that you have done. You have pride with the organization you are in. You have pride with what you are associated with. Pride is in every area of your life. And yet pride is a negative emotion. Because behind pride, what lies is pain. It is just that the pain is waiting to show up someday. It can show up the next day and it can show up after 50 years, but it always shows up. And you always feel that pain. It is not that you don't feel it. Only thing, because of your distraction, you manage your pain very well. So it's like this, how do the humans deal with their stuff? Let's say you are angry. You're very angry. How do you deal with it? The first thing, you would want to vent out. You would want to vomit out your anger. And you want to exhibit how angry you are. But if for some reason, so that we call that expressing your anger. But if for some reason the person standing in front of you is your boss or is someone who has power over you, you cannot now vent out. You cannot express. What do you do with your anger? You suppress. You push it down. And you try to maintain a face which is either neutral or wanting to please the other person. But anything that you suppress comes up with a greater force at a certain point in time, maybe as anger or maybe as a disease. So these are the first two things: express, suppress. What is the third thing that humans do? The third thing that the humans do is known as distract. How do you distract your anger? You want to divert your mind to something which is interesting, which is pleasing. Like you want to open the newspaper and read. You want to go into your social media. You want to switch on the TV. You want to call someone and talk with that person. You want to take your car and go out. You want to go and chill with your friends. You want to go out into shopping. You want to do all kind of other things that you do. This is known as distraction, which we call as managing your anger. I'm just taking anger as an example. Anything can be there. These are the three ways humans deal with what they cannot deal with. And there is a fourth way. And this fourth way is you can truly let go of this anger. But how do you truly let go of this anger? Very simple. I'm very angry on that person. May I have your grace, God? That's all. Watch the anger. You'll see it coming down. If it has not come to zero, again say, all the anger that I am having, may I have your grace, God? And watch it. Again, you find it has not yet reached to zero. Again, say after a little while, all the anger that I am having, may I have your grace, God? Watch the anger. And you will find very soon you have no anger left. This is another way. This is one way you can have God in your life and let go of all your negativity, of all your negative thoughts, emotions, feelings. Identify one by one, feel it, and just say it. Issue is very simple. All the headache that I am having, all the stomach ache that I am having, I am scared to face my principal. I'm so concerned that my project is not yet over. I don't know how to complete my project. I'm struggling with my project. Whatever your issue is, say it, may I have your grace, God. Bring in the grace of God into your life. And over a period of 30 days, you will start noticing some shifts happening, which will be very graceful and very soothing. So this is an experiment that God is inviting the humans to explore. And God says very clearly, do not have faith in me. Why you should not have faith in God? For the simple reason that you do not know God. But what does the king say? You must have faith in the one that you worship. Why does the king say that? Because that is the way king is binding you. And so king says, have faith, have trust, have belief. King is demanding your submission. King is demanding your surrender. King is demanding your devotion. Why do the king need all these things? For only one reason, binding the human and not letting the humans to go to God. And king puts in a fear, you leave me, something bad is going to happen to you. And that fear will not allow you to come to God. Now let me talk within the context of people's questions. So now I'm inviting the question answers come in.
Sir, myself Jignesh Joshi. Uh,
Yes.
I read your book actually. Um, NM Patel sir gave it to me. Where I mean the but that was in a soft copy, and I also read the hard copy of that. It
Okay.
was really nice actually. I really appreciate for that, and I really thank you for that. Sir, I have just one question. Uh, you said that everything is written in a storyline. Something that we have know that some karma is there, like if you do your work regularly or something, you'll get some benefits. So how, um, I mean there is I need clarity on that, if you can.
You need to know more about karma.
Yeah, sir, I mean, uh, like if I mean the like so many people believe in that way. If if karma is there, let's say if I do very hard work, right, I will be in a top 1% of the richest person, right? So majority of the people, they have that this kind of a thought. So but if you say that if it is already written in a storyline, so there is a confusion about that. Can you just clarify, sir?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So first thing, we have to understand what karma is. Most people believe that karma is nothing but your actions. If you do good actions, you have accumulated good karma, and if you do bad actions, you have accumulated bad karma. That is the belief that the humans have. But that not truly is what karma is. Karma is something else, and it has got nothing to do with your actions. The simplest understanding of karma is unfinished business. A business that did not get over and got carried forward into the next incarnation. Now, what does it mean to be incomplete? What does incompletion basically means? It just means that if you are in a family and if you are attached to all the people in your family, when you die, you are now karmically bound to them and they are going to come back into your life again. Because there was an incompletion. What was the incompletion? You could not go beyond your attachment with your family. That is one thing. Same is the aversion. If you have any kind of negativity against any person, and if you are dying carrying that negativity with you, you are now carrying a karmic baggage. You again have to come back again with that person and sort it out till you come to a place of neutrality, till you come to a place of balance, till you come to a place of equanimity. So first, what creates karma is attachment and aversions. Next, what creates karma is wanting. If you are wanting in something in life and you die with that wanting, that creates a karma. If you come to a place of wanting nothing, that means all your karma is gone. You have zero karma. But because we keep on wanting and wanting and wanting, and even when we are dying, we are wanting to go to heaven, wanting not to go to hell, the wanting continues. And so that creates karma. Another thing that creates karma is when you're not willing to forgive yourself and forgive others. And this carries forward to another lifetime. Now you have again brought into a place where similar circumstances will show up. And again, you will be kind of, do I forgive that person or do I not forgive that person? Do I forgive myself? Do I not forgive myself? So forgiveness, forgiving me and forgiving the others, this creates karma. Another thing that creates karma is judgment. If you judge people, if you judge circumstances, notice in all these things that I said, there is no action. There is nothing good or bad into it. There is nothing about giving donations or not giving donations. There is nothing about feeding the animals. There is nothing about going and taking care of those who are downtrodden. If there is no such thing, then what is creating karma? Karma is created from a mindset, not from actions. So it is the mindset that creates karma. You feed the humans, you take care of the poor, of the downtrodden. Everything that you do, of course, it does come back to you at some point in time in some way. But one problem with karma is today was created from your present karma, was created from your past actions and not from your present actions. Whatever you do today, you are actually going to create, that is going to create a life in the next incarnation, not in this incarnation. In this incarnation, already it is there. It has already been written. Whatever good and bad is going to happen to you, it is already written. Only thing in your life is, are you going to experience that as good or bad? Let's say someone loses a job. Now it seems very bad. But what if that person says, fine, I don't have a job, I don't have an income. I am now going to bring my lifestyle down to 10% of what it was. I'm going to bring down my expenses by 90%. I'm going to live in some other place where the cost of living is minimal. Now this person has freedom in life. This person is enjoying life. But if the family says, no, we don't agree to all that, you have to go and make sure that you bring in the money, and we must maintain this current standard of living and we must enhance it to the next level. Now this person is miserable. But all these things are written in the storyline. It is already created. It is already scripted. It is only unfolding. Someone losing their job is unfolding. Their family saying we are not ready to adjust is unfolding. This person saying I do not want to bring down my standard of living is unfolding. That means the way you are experiencing life is now going to be miserable. So it has got nothing to do with good karma, bad karma. It is just a mindset which could not readjust to new circumstances. If you have the freedom to readjust, no karma will ever be able to touch you. No circumstances of life will be able to touch you. But for that, what is needed? You forgive yourself, you forgive others. What is needed is you let go of your judgments. What is needed is deep acceptance of whatever life is. So another thing that creates karma is non-acceptance. But when you are in acceptance, now the events of life do not create your suffering and pain. So with God, what we are trying to do is trying to basically come to a place where we are less tormented by life, less suffering is created from life, less pain is created from life. That is what we are aiming for by bringing God into our life. Have I given you some clarity about what you wanted to know?
Sir, this is Vishal Doshi from Bharuch.
Yes.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है
अगर मैं ठीक से सुन पाया तो आपने ये बताया कि चौथे नंबर के गॉड जो है वो राम, श्री कृष्ण, ग्रीक के गॉड। तीसरे नंबर के गॉड है जो अपना सॉल है ना, जो आत्मा जिसे हम कहते हैं
यस
वो।
जी
दूसरे नंबर के गॉड पे आपने अल्लाह को रखा, और कुछ ऐसा ही बताया, मुझे सुनने में आया था। और
जी।
पहले नंबर के गॉड के बारे में मुझे पता नहीं चला। तो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि ये क्रम कैसे दिया आपने, और पहले नंबर के गॉड के बारे में मुझे और ज्यादा जानना है। यही मेरा क्वेश्चन।
जो भी चीजें किताब के अंदर लिखी हुई है, दरअसल वो चीजें मैंने नहीं लिखी है, मुझे दिया गया है। जब मैं बचपन से बड़ा हुआ, मुझे धर्म में कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं था, ना ही मुझे अध्यात्म में कोई इंटरेस्ट था। मटेरियलिज्म में कम इंटरेस्ट था। जैसे कि मुझे ये जानने में ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट था कि लोग पैसे कैसे बनाते हैं, लेकिन पैसे कमाने में मुझे कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं था। सो ये चीजें मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि मेरे पास कोई ज्ञान नहीं है जिसको हम शास्त्रों का ज्ञान कहते हैं, वेदों का ज्ञान कहते हैं, या धर्म ग्रंथों का ज्ञान कहते हैं। वो सब ज्ञान मेरे पास नहीं है। जो थोड़ा बहुत ज्ञान मेरे पास था वो इंजीनियरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी के ज्ञान थे, क्योंकि मेरा पेशा था वो। और उन चीजों को ही मैं पढ़ता था और उन चीजों के अंदर ही मैं इंटरेस्ट या रुचि रखता था। बाद में जो भी चीजें उस किताब के अंदर लिखी गई है, दरअसल वो सब चीज परमात्मा ने मुझे बताया। क्योंकि मैं परमात्मा के साथ बात करता हूँ, उनके कहे बातों पे मैं चलता हूँ, उनके दिए गए इंस्ट्रक्शंस को फॉलो करता हूँ। तो जब वो चाहते थे कि मैं वर्कशॉप्स लूँ, तो सवाल ये था कि वर्कशॉप में मैं बोलूँगा क्या। तो कभी कभी मैं वो मुझे उन चीज़ों की तरफ ले जाते थे जो पहले से थे। क्योंकि परमात्मा के चीज़ें जो पहली बार इस दुनिया में आया, वो करीबन 600 साल पहले आया। और 600 साल पहले उसको लाने वाला जो था, वो शख्स का नाम था कबीर। जिस तरह ये राजा परमात्मा के संतान है, और कबीर के दिए हुए जो भी उस वक्त की जो भी नॉलेज था, वो सब चीजें कहीं ना कहीं पे उपलब्ध है। कुछ कुछ लोग उनके बारे में बातें भी कर रहे हैं। और पहली बार कबीर ने राजा के बारे में बताया। पहली बार कबीर ने कहा कि ये तीनों जो है, इनकी पूजा मत करो, करो तो सिर्फ एक का। उन्होंने दरअसल उनको उनको कहा था चौथा राम, बट एक्चुअली हम लोग उनको पहला राम बोलते हैं। तो कबीर कहता था ये बाकी राम की पूजा मत करो, उसमें से एक राम ये आत्मा भी है। तो आपने पूछा कि ये नॉलेज मुझे कहाँ से मिला, तो ये नॉलेज का सोर्स परमात्मा है, उनके द्वारा बताए गए चीजों से है। और कई सारे चीजें जो मेरे किताब में लिखी हुई है, वो दरअसल कहीं कोई शास्त्र में नहीं है। वो सिर्फ मैंने इसलिए लिखा क्योंकि परमात्मा ने कहा कि तुम उसे लिखो। सो ये आपका पहले क्वेश्चन का सवाल है। दूसरे क्वेश्चन का जो सॉरी, पहले क्वेश्चन का जवाब है। दूसरे क्वेश्चन का जो जवाब ये है कि आप परमात्मा के बारे में थोड़ा और जानना चाहते हैं। मैं परमात्मा के बारे में कुछ नहीं जानता, ना मैंने कभी उन्हें देखा है, ना जाना है, ना समझा है। उनके साथ काम किया है। काम करने का मतलब ये नहीं होता है कि मैंने उन्हें देखा, जाना या समझा। काम करने का मतलब ये होता है कि उन्होंने कहा ये कहो और मैंने वो किया। और 8 साल के ऊपर मैं उनके साथ काम कर रहा हूँ, और जब उनके पास से इंस्ट्रक्शंस आते हैं वो बहुत क्लियर होते हैं। उसके अंदर कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं होता है कि मुझे एग्जैक्टली क्या करना है। और बहुत माइन्यूट माइन्यूट इंस्ट्रक्शंस उनके होते हैं। तो बड़े बड़े इंस्ट्रक्शंस भी उनके होते हैं, छोटे इंस्ट्रक्शंस भी उनके होते हैं। हर चीज़ों को मैं पूरे शिद्दत के साथ फॉलो करता हूँ। तो इसीलिए ज्यादा मैं उनके बारे में नहीं कह सकता, लेकिन इतना मैं कह सकता हूँ आपको, मैंने उनके काम करते हुए देखा है। 8 साल तक मैंने दरअसल राजा और परमात्मा के बीच के लड़ाई को देखा है। और ये मैं इसलिए कह सकता हूँ क्योंकि दरअसल हालांकि मैं एक इंसान हूं, लेकिन नॉन फिजिकल डोमेन जो है, वहां तक मेरी पहुंच परख, समझ, अंग्रेजी में बोले तो परसेप्शन, नॉलेज, कम्युनिकेशन, एवरीथिंग आई हैव। तो जिस तरह आप एक दूसरे इंसान को आप समझ सकते हो, देख सकते हो, मैं उन चीजों को देख तो नहीं सकता। अंग्रेजी में उस वर्ड को कहते हैं कॉग्नाइज। मैं कॉग्नाइज कर सकता हूँ। कॉग्नाइज का एक तरह से अगर हिंदी शब्द है तो यूं कह सकते हैं कि मैं समझ सकता हूँ। तो क्योंकि मैंने राजा को देखा वो कैसे खेल रहा था, मैंने परमात्मा को भी देखा वो कैसे खेल रहे थे, और ये एक चेस का गेम था। और चेस का गेम ये था कि कोई भी कदम परमात्मा उठाता था, राजा उससे ब्लॉक करता था। परमात्मा कभी भी उनके फायरवॉल को, यानी उनकी ब्लॉक को तोड़ने की कभी भी कोशिश नहीं किया। परमात्मा हर वक्त बैकफुट हो जाते थे। ये मैंने उनके काम करने का एक ढंग देखा। परमात्मा हर चीज को अलाउ करते हैं। वो कभी भी किसी चीज के विपक्ष में नहीं जाते। वो कभी भी किसी चीज को तोड़ने की कोशिश नहीं करते। और सीरीज ऑफ बैकफुट मैंने देखा परमात्मा को करते हुए, और मुझे हर वक्त ये लगता था परमात्मा कभी भी सक्सेसफुल नहीं होंगे। मैंने हर वक्त राजा को जीतते हुए देखा है, सालों तक। और हर वक्त मेरे मन में यही सवाल था, परमात्मा कभी जीत नहीं पाएंगे राजा के सामने। और फिर एक दिन अचानक मैंने देखा कि पूरी बाजी पलट गई। और ये तो 7 साल के बाद देखा मैंने। 7 साल तक तो मैं यही कहता रहा परमात्मा कभी नहीं जीत पाएंगे। हर वक्त मैंने राजा को जीतते हुए देखा है। तो आखिर में मैंने परमात्मा को जीतते हुए देखा, और फिर मैंने जाना कि परमात्मा कैसे काम करते हैं। राजा को भी पता नहीं चलता है कि वो कैसे काम करते हैं, क्योंकि राजा को अगर सब पता चलता तो वो परमात्मा को वहां भी रोक देते। तो राजा भी परमात्मा के बारे में ज्यादा कुछ जानते नहीं है कि वो किस तरह काम कर रहे हैं, और मैं तो जानता ही नहीं। तो यही आपके सवाल का जवाब है। थैंक यू।
I always feel connected with you every time.
यस।
What is that? I don't know, but day and night when I go at sleep at bed, when I wake up, I think always there is some connectivity. What is that? I don't know, sir. Sir, one of the interaction came one point actually. If you judge people's circumstances, then also karma will come, and that was discussion of karma. But we take an example that one person is doing business in occult sciences. Now his profession for existing in this earth is actually it is his business. It means that it will not bring karma to his life because it is the way that he lives at the earth.
So yes, anyone who is practicing occult science, which is because occult science, let me clarify, if it is about, because occult science, if it means a bad science, yes, it creates karma. You cannot take money from people in order to inflict injury or damage to people. If you do that, that creates its own consequences. What is your question?
So someone suppose is doing a business on say numerology, astrology, where he is continuously judging the people because it is his way of earning at the earth.
Now,
So every time the mind will come into the picture, whether it has to karma because it is his love. Yes, sir.
numerology and astrology is not about delivering judgments. It is about delivering the future that person is perceiving, the future and the past. That does not create karma.
In book, some point it is written that any sort of defense mechanism while saving human body or while saving something else, it doesn't create a karma because it was generated as a reaction to the appropriate action was taken actually. And so does it any has relation with the karma? Because in book somewhere it is written that it also does not create a karma.
Yes, the answer to that is basically we have something called as survival mechanism.
Yes, sir.
Survival mechanism is a biological mechanism which is our instinct. And when we try to save ourselves or kill others in order to survive, that does not create karma. Karma is created from the mind and not from the body.
Yes, sir.
So you get the difference. That's why
Yes,
there is no
sir.
karma there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And sir, with this mantra actually, which is already has been discussed for doing at least for 1 month. If someone feels good about that, he can keep on doing that till the permission is there.
Yeah, you can keep on doing the mantra till the end of your life.
GG sir. GG sir. Please. Thank you sir. Thank you sir. Very
Okay, then thank you very much for inviting me, for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank,
Bye.
thank you very much, sir.
Bye.